What happens when the truth you hide becomes the weapon that silences your accusers? In the heart of a city pulsing with secrets, twin sisters Amara and Aisha Carter stood at the edge of a reckoning. The alley was a concrete canyon, its walls scarred by time and neglect, where the air hung heavy with the scent of rain and diesel. The sisters, identical in their sharp blazers and unyielding gazes, had been tracking a lead for weeks, a lead that now had them cornered by three cops whose smirks dripped with disdain. The officers had spotted them minutes earlier, their flashlights cutting through the twilight like blades. "Lost, ladies?" One sneered, his voice thick with mockery. Amara, the elder by mere minutes, felt her pulse quicken but kept her chin high. Aisha, her mirror image, clenched her fists, her eyes scanning the trio for any sign of escalation. The cops, emboldened by their badges and the sisters' race, laughed a low, guttural sound that echoed off the brick walls. "You don't belong here." Another officer spat, stepping closer, his hand resting on his holster. The sisters exchanged a glance, a silent language forged in childhood. They knew this script, the assumptions, the taunts, the weight of being black women in a world quick to judge. But tonight was different. Tonight, they carried a truth heavier than the officer's prejudice. Amara's voice cut through the tension, steady but laced with fire. "You sure about that?" she asked, her words a challenge wrapped in calm. The lead officer, a burly man with a buzz cut, scoffed. "Keep talking, sweetheart. You're just digging yourselves deeper." His partners chuckled, their confidence unshaken. Aisha stepped forward, her movements deliberate, and the laughter faltered. "You might want to listen," she said, her tone sharp enough to slice through their bravado. From her pocket, she drew a badge gleaming, "Official, Department of Justice." Amara mirrored her, holding up an identical badge. The alley fell silent, the only sound the distant wail of a siren. The officers froze, their faces draining of color. The lead cop's smirk vanished, replaced by a flicker of panic. "DOJ," he stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. The sisters stood taller, their presence filling the narrow space. "Classified Investigations Unit," Amara said, her words deliberate, each syllable a hammer striking glass. "We're here on assignment. Care to explain why you're harassing federal agents?" The question hung in the air, unanswered. The officer's earlier swagger crumbled, their hands twitching nervously. Aisha pressed forward, her voice low but unyielding. "You saw our skin and assumed we were out of place. You laughed because you thought you had power. But power doesn't come from a badge, it comes from truth." The third officer, younger, shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting to the ground. He hadn't signed up for this. Amara and Aisha had faced this kind of prejudice their entire lives. Growing up in a neighborhood where cops were as feared as they were familiar, they learned early that justice was a battlefield. They'd clawed their way through law school, through covert training, through missions that left scars both visible and hidden. Their DOJ status was hard-earned, a shield and a sword they wielded for those who couldn't fight back. But tonight, it was personal. The lead officer tried to backpedal, mumbling about a misunderstanding. Amara cut him off. "This isn't a misunderstanding. It's a pattern, and we're done letting it slide." She pulled out a recorder, its red light blinking like an accusation. "Your names." Now. The officers hesitated, then complied, their voices shaky. The power dynamic had shifted, and they knew it. As the sisters walked away, the alley seemed to exhale. They didn't need to look back to know the officers were still standing there, grappling with the weight of their misjudgment. Amara and Aisha had a mission to complete, a trafficking ring to dismantle, lives to save. But this moment, this confrontation, was a reminder of why they fought. Not just for justice, but for dignity, for the right to be seen as more than a stereotype. In the days that followed, the sisters' report sparked an internal investigation. The officers faced consequences, but Amara and Aisha knew the system was slow to change. They carried on, their badges a symbol of resilience, their bond a testament to survival. The city kept pulsing, its secrets buried in shadows, but the twins walked with purpose, knowing each step chipped away at the walls of prejudice. Their story wasn't just about that night. It was about every moment they'd been underestimated, every laugh they'd turned into silence, every fight they'd won by refusing to break. In a world quick to judge, Amara and Aisha Carter were a foreseen, unyielding reminder that truth could outshine even the darkest assumptions. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.